Yo, what is going on, everybody? And welcome back to Team 9, an XFL and USFL podcast. Now, I'm not right about a lot of things, but there's one thing I was right about. I told you guys about Mark Thompson. He had 134 rushing yards and a hat trick of touchdowns on the ground, winning Offensive Player of the Week and propelling his Houston Gamblers to a 41-16 rout of the now quickly sputtering Philadelphia Stars. Winless no more. The Memphis Showboats put it all together and beat the Michigan Panthers on their home turf to earn their first win of the season. And hey, my New Orleans Breakers, keep them coming, man. The Breakers grab a huge win over the New Jersey Generals to stay on top of the USFL throne, thanks to Defensive Player of the Week, Vontae Diggs. And even with throwing interceptions on back-to-back plays, Alex Magoo bounces back and leads his Birmingham Stallions to a hard-fought victory over their Pittsburgh Maulers, their first ever regular season game outside the city of Birmingham. Those Birmingham Stallions host a streaking Houston Gamblers team in Team Nine's Game of the Week. Of course, my name is Ethan, and we are not joined by Felix again. But say hi, John.
Hello there. How's it going?
A lot, honestly. Two podcasts in a day, man. I mean, we're knocking them out.
Yeah, gotta keep it going.
Gotta keep it going. I think we just get into the games here really quick, huh?
Send it.
All right, John, do you want to start us off with Houston Philly? What did you see in this one?
A lot of Houston, not a lot of Philly.
Yeah.
We saw Houston win this one 41-16 over the Philadelphia Stars, and it was just a shutout from beginning to end. Well, not a shutout, but a blowout from beginning to end, as Houston beat them in all phases of the game. Their D-line was just living in the backfield of the Stars offense, and the what's it called? The offense of Houston was living in the end zone there. So I don't know. Just a lot going wrong for Philly and a lot going right for Houston here. Kenji Bahar had a great game, and so did Mark Thompson, who you mentioned in the intro.
Yeah, I mean, look at the stacks. Like I said, Mark Thompson, 13 carries, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Kenji Bahar, 15 for 21, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game out of him. Anthony Ratcliffe-Williams, 4 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown on 4 targets. Justin Hall getting involved, 3 catches, 30 yards on 5 targets. Josh Peterson at tight end, the son of NFL coach Doug Peterson, 3 catches, 45 yards on 5 targets. Kiki Chisholm getting involved as well, 2 catches, 63 yards on 3 targets. T.O. Redding, 2 catches, 34 yards on 3 targets. Shermani Jones, 2 catches, 16 yards, 2 targets. I mean, looking at that, I mean, they spread the ball around a ton in this game. Just looking at the stats here. I also want to mention Kiki Chisholm with one of the touchdowns. But yeah, they just spread the ball out very well. When I look back at this game, I think of the pod last week when we were recording, and I was trying to figure out a winner for this one. I was definitely searching for an upset. I'll get into the Vegas view, some trends a little bit later in the show, but I was looking for an upset, bottom line, and I saw this one, and this one popped off the page to me. Philadelphia continues to show that they cannot block anybody, and with no offensive line, there's not really a quick fix for that. In fact, I don't know if there's a fix mid-season. There really is no fix. Philadelphia proving that they still can't block anybody, giving Case Cook absolutely zero time. I mean, if you want to look at his stats, he ended up finishing 24 for 36, 189 yards on 36 attempts, which is crazy to me. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Rushing wise for the Stars, I mean, Matt Colburn was their leading rusher, 6 carries, 16 yards, and a touchdown. They've still yet to have a running or anybody finish with over 31 rushing yards in a game. John, that is absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
And receiving, I mean, you have Devin Gray, 8 catches, 61 yards on 12 targets. That's insane. 12 targets for Devin Gray. Deontay Overton, 3 catches, 22 yards on 4 targets. Chris Rowland, 3 catches, 17 yards on 3 targets. Jordan Sewell, 3 catches, 26 yards on 4 targets. Yeah, Matt Colburn in the backfield, but that's mostly because what's his face? Case Cook was getting pressured. 2 catches, 18 yards, 4 targets. Corey Coleman, 2 catches, 27 yards on 4 targets. I mean, you got to give Corey Coleman more opportunities, I think, even with no offensive line, but it all starts up front, and that's really what's killed them so far. Houston got to pin their ears back. That secondary for Houston is not very good, and they looked great today, and that's mostly because of the Houston pass rush doing a great job. And on the offensive side for Houston, I mean, I said it all week. I was saying Mark Thompson, he was going to make his mark. No pun intended. I guess we're going to do mark puns on this show instead of boat puns like last week. Um, but yeah, he's established himself as one of the best running backs in this league, and he's back, man. He's back. Um, I for Houston, I think if they can just keep that running game going, that'll be great for them. I'm still scared of them on the back end on defense. That's the only thing I'm really scared of for Philly. I don't know what you can do to fix their problems at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, like, maybe in the NFL you could trade for, like, an offensive lineman. There just aren't that many in these leagues.
Right, and not a lot of teams are going to be willing to give up their depth.
Exactly, and I don't know how free agency really works, if they even have it, or if they just, like,
No,
call
they
up
can they
someone
can
in the
sign
draft.
players. It's just they can sign players. It's just I don't know who's available at the moment.
Yeah,
It's going to
exactly,
be
so,
better than the guys you already have that you've had all off season to train and get ready in the playbook instead of just
yeah.
plugging some guy off the street.
It's hard to fix the O-line.
It's definitely hard to fix the O line, and I just Philly right now I think is in a hole that I don't know if they can get out of at this point. Very shocking, but just seeing them their ability or inability to block is definitely killed them so far this season. We got anything else on this game? I think it was a lot of just Mark Thompson and a lot of pressure by the Houston D line, which I kind of mentioned in the Vegas View last week. I remember when I was
Yeah.
making my picks,
Yeah,
but
not much
that's what
else.
this game ended up being. Not much else. All right. We have a little bit of news on Houston, but we're going to get to that in the around the USFL segment coming up next. All right. Let's go to the Memphis Showboats and the Michigan Panthers. And I mean, this game, John, do you want to start? You got anything to say on this one just to start?
Uh, well, I'll just say the score here. The Showboats beat the Panthers 29-10, but it
Yeah, I mean,
almost felt like the Panthers lost this one rather than the Showboats winning it to me. I don't know. How did you
really,
feel?
for me, it starts with one man and one man only. It's Cole Kelly. That
Yeah,
guy
that's true.
was insane. It felt like every time the Showboats were in a third down and they need to pick something up, he was there to make the right throw. I mean, he was incredible. I mean, if you want to look at their stats here, they had 15 first downs in the game. Michigan had 19 though, probably because they had to hurry up at the end a lot. But it just felt like every time Memphis needed a big first down, Cole Kelly was there to answer it. Kelly, big day on the ground and through the air, 26 or 15 for 26, 151 yards. No touchdowns, no picks, but again, like he felt like every time they needed a third down, he delivered a strike. And then if you want to look at his rushing, man, 6 attempts, 27 yards, 2 touchdowns. That one at the end of the game to seal it for them when it looked like Michigan still had a chance to get back in this game. Michigan got a pick six later on a crazy tipped pass play that led to a interception for a touchdown, which made this game look a lot closer than it was because it really felt like Michigan was in this one the entire time. But that's the way the cookie crumbles there. I mean, for Michigan, it was kind of interesting. There was talk about a quarterback battle going
Yeah.
into this game, and I brought it up on the show. You shut it down, and I agreed with you. But I mean, after seeing what Josh Love and Carson Strong put together, how do you view this quarterback situation?
Well, I don't know. Neither of them really did anything last week. Both of them got in the game and passed for over 10 attempts, so I don't really know what they can do. I mean, it's not like they didn't complete passes. Both of them had over 50% passing, but it's like those were all pretty short passes. So maybe it starts with the play calling here, and they just got to send some players deep. I don't know.
So Mike Nolan is the one to blame here, you think?
I'm not going to say he's the only one to blame, but if you have 10 completions, but it's only 58 yards, something's got to change there. Whether it be like your
Ye-
quarterback reading the defense or play calling.
Right. Weird thing for Philadelphia, I think that was on Mike Nolan was it there was Carson Strong picked up momentum at the end of the first half. He led a drive to get Michigan some points. But he threw an interception at the end of the half, which was just an unfortunate play. He kind of threw it up and it was
Yeah.
intercepted, which took points off the board for Michigan. But it wasn't necessarily like a bad read or anything. But then Josh Love comes out in the second half and starts playing again. Carson Strong had picked up momentum. Why do you think they switched back to Love? I mean, I didn't get the move at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't really either. I saw that, and it was just, yeah, like you said, it was weird. But the only thing is, like, you can't have that turnover in this close a game, so they just wanted to sub him out. But I don't know. At some point, they just gotta pick a guy and stick with him no matter the turnovers, just because
Right.
it's weird switching. It's weird
Right, for
for
the
the
receivers
quarterback
and
and
everything.
just the rest of the offense to be switching between quarterbacks constantly like this.
Right. I mean, if you want to look at some rushing, Michigan could never really get off the ground rushing on this game. Memphis did a great job on collapsing in on that, their defensive line. Stevie Scott, 12 attempts, 66 yards. Reggie Corbin, 14 carries, 53 yards. Those came on some big runs, though. It really felt like,
Yeah.
for the most part, Memphis has really stopped Michigan the entire game. And if you want to look at Memphis running the ball, I mean, Kareth White was the guy with no Alex Collins. He's on IR now with an injury. Kareth White, 15 carries, 54 yards. He didn't make a he was pretty good in the run game. He hit those holes. He got great speed, and he did I think he was an even better receiver, honestly. He got 7 targets, 3 catches for 27 yards. But I love him as a receiver out of the backfield. And then if you want to look at the Michigan side, it was all Joe Walker. I mean, the guy had 10 targets, 7 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. He was their guy today. Um, and it feels like he's got to be the guy moving forward, no matter who the quarterback is. John, you got any more notes on this one?
Not really. I just think Michigan had opportunities to get in this one, but they just didn't capitalize on them.
Agreed. I felt like they were just a step behind the entire game. I
Yeah.
also want to shout out the kicker Alex Kessman. 2 for 3 on point after attempts, but 3 for 3 on field goals. He had a great day. He started in week one, missed a field goal, or he started a couple weeks ago, missed some field goals. Was benched the week beforehand, before this game, because of his kicking woes. So they turned to the punter to uh to kick the field goals for Brandon Wright. They turned to him to kick the field goals for them. But then Kessman came back. Apparently, he's from Michigan, so he had like over 100 people in the crowd that day at Ford Field, and he showed up, man. So I just wanted to shout that out
I
because that was
heard
a
that.
cool
That's
story to show
crazy to
on the
me that he
broadcast.
got 100 tickets.
The announcer said this, and I kind of agree with him. Like I feel the same way. I don't even think I know 100 people. Like holy cow, dude!
Yeah, that's true. Like,
100 people
what
to
the
watch a
heck?
game. That's amazing.
He
That's a
must have
lot of
invited
people, man.
everybody's friends and their dogs. Like, what the heck?
I know, like, unbelievable. But Alex Kessman, great kicking day, and you got your team over the hump for their first win. All right, I think we go to my New Orleans Breakers. I mean, I can read out some stats just to start. I mean, we won this game 20-17. Defense played very well. MacLeod Bethel Thompson, 26 for 37, 279 yards, an interception. He had a pretty good game overall, even with that pick. DeAndre Johnson, 7 for 14, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Wes Hills, 26 carries, which is still unbelievable. 88 yards, 2 touchdowns for the New Jersey Generals. Trey Williams, he was this speedy guy out of the backfield they used a lot, and I loved him. He looked really good. 8 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Darius Victor, 9 carries, 64 yards. We did a pretty good job at classing on him. He had a 30-yard run at one point, but other than that, we did a good job classing on him. DeAndre Johnson, 5 carries, 38 yards. He's a great quarterback out of the read option. Receiving, I mean, Wes Hill was the had the most receptions on the team. 7 catches, 71 yards, 8 targets. New Jersey did exactly what I thought they would. They sent a lot of pressure
Hmm.
at us, so I that's what I was scared of. That's what Pittsburgh did in that first game. Their D line came through and applied pressure, and we had problems on offense. I was expecting New Jersey to send the house. They definitely did that, but Wes Hill's got a lot of catches out of that. State Charette, he loves those drag routes, those in routes, those slant routes. 6 catches, 94 yards on 9 targets. Jay Adams, I still want him more involved. 4 catches, 37 yards on 4 targets. D. Anderson, big jump ball guy, I love him. 4 catches, 43 yards on 7 targets. Lee Morris, 4 catches, 36 yards on 7 targets. He loves to hit that seam. I mean, And then for the New Jersey Generals, Cameron Eccles blooper is a speedster, dude. He only had 2 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown, but
That's crazy.
Alonzo Moore, 2 catches, 20 yards. He had this amazing catch on a 4th and 15. It was unbelievable. John, do you have anything on this game? I mean, for me, it felt like New Jersey. The Breakers did a great job at shutting down the Generals' passing game and really collapsing on the run and not letting Johnson get out of the pocket to make huge plays.
Yeah, I think we really saw MacLeod Bethel Thompson's experience come into play here with that pressure from New Jersey as he got the ball out really quick pretty much the whole game, which allows
Right.
for Wes, which was why Wes Hills got those 7 catches for 71 yards. Yeah, I just thought he played really well despite maybe a setback or two here or there, but other than that, he did play well.
West with a hell of a catch in the final 2 minutes of the game. I remember on like a 3rd and 4. That was pretty crazy. He went up. He was like wide open. It was like a perfect play. But heck of a catch by West for a running back. Yeah, man. I mean, defense played their best game. The Breakers breakdown. I'm going to focus on one player specific. There was an injury that stopped the game for a minute, and I got some. Hate to say, but I got some Damar Hamlin flashbacks. I felt like we were gonna. It felt like we were having that experience
Oh, I
again because
didn't
it
see
took
that.
we had 2 commercial breaks, and I was sitting there thinking, I don't know if this game's going to continue because
Yeah.
I guess that's just something we have to expect nowadays, which is unbelievable. But that's the world we live in now, and I'm going to get into that and how the defense rallied in late in this game. But for the offense, I mean, it's a tough defense, and they sent heat, and Wes Hills continues to deliver. So not much else to say. McLeod Bethel Thompson, maybe not the best stat line on paper, but watching him, it felt like he played a really good game. So
Yeah.
I'll get into the defense on Breakers breakdown. You got
DeAndre
anything else to
Johnson
say?
just got shut down, I think, with in the running
DeAndre
back.
Johnson. Oh yeah. He definitely, yeah, we definitely did a great job at collapsing on the run game, but I'm gonna get into that a little bit
All
later. You
right.
got anything else?
No.
All right. We will head over to the Birmingham Stallions and the Pittsburgh Maulers. I mean, to start, I mean, I know that you've been high on the Maulers. I know you didn't pick them to win this game, but you picked the spread and you were right on that. John, what did you see going into this one, and what do you kind of see coming out of it?
Well, going in, I was like, red zone offense for the Maulers needs to pick up as it had not done anything the first 3 weeks. And coming out, I feel the exact same way. As in
Yeah,
the
dude.
first half, I believe the Maulers had the ball 3 times in the red zone, no
Right.
touchdowns on any of them. 2 of those red zone drives, they were within the 5 yard line and couldn't even get to the end zone. So I don't know whether
Wow.
to credit the Stallions offense or defensive line, sorry, or the Maulers just being horrible down there. Cause something's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. Just like because you watch the offense now, and when Troy Williams actually showed a good deep ball this week.
Yeah,
21 completions on 33 attempts, 217 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. But he had a good deep ball. He had one to Bailey Gaither where he was wide open. He hit him. He stepped out a couple yards away, and I was thinking, for any other offense, you're thinking, oh, he's so close. That's awesome. For the Pittsburgh Maulers, it's more like, oh no, he's so close. I
yeah,
mean. I remember Magoo threw. I said it in the intro. He threw back-to-back interceptions. There was one on like a comeback route,
yeah,
where it was a miscommunication by the receiver and he threw it. It was an interception. He thought it was a comeback route, and so then the Maulers got the ball. They had to kick a field goal. They had to settle, but they had it in Birmingham territory. And then the next one, Magoo threw it up, but it was underthrown. It was to go to Dion Kane, and it was intercepted. And I mean, it was at that point in the game, I texted you, "Wow, Maulers," and then later on, you said, "This is my text. I'm reading them out right now. It's on Sunday." I said, "Wow, Maulers." That was after the 2 picks, and they had an early lead. You said they have such a bad red zone offense, it's crazy. And
yeah,
then let's just say the Birmingham Stallions and Alex Magoo, they bounced back. It was 9-0 at one point in this game, and the Stallions came back and they were leading at halftime 10-9 after one touchdown, one crazy touchdown drive where it looked like Magoo um like he felt like he should have gotten rid of the ball, right? Like to save time to kick a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
But instead he like ran, he like first decided to run for it. And thank goodness he got it. It was a buzzer beating touchdown, which he would have gotten chewed out by Coach Skip Holtz if he didn't get in there. But
Speaking of getting chewed
uh,
out, that defender who missed the tackle.
yeah, that too, man. That
Like,
too.
that's just the worst way I've seen a defender try to tackle a quarterback. Shoulder pads? No. What the heck are you
Yeah, that was not
doing?
the way to go. Magoo doing a great job reaching the ball. It was pretty
Yeah.
athletic play. We had another athletic play later, which I want to get into. I said, yeah, but after you said that they had such a bad red zone offense, I said, yeah, I know. I can't believe this is still a one possession game. And then after the Birmingham Stallions scored to take the 10-9 lead into halftime, I said, that's what scares me about the Maulers. Even when they dominate, all it takes is a play or two for the other team to get back into the game. Their
Yeah.
defense is amazing, but their offense can't capitalize. And you said, it's frustrating to watch. I can't imagine what the players feel like. I said, big game against the defending champs at home. No Reuben Foster, been the better team and still losing at half. Unreal. And I think that just kind of encapsulized like what the Maulers have been so far this season. They played such a good game in this one, but there's some key plays down the stretch I want to get into. Alex Magoo on a 3rd and goal basically had time to like set up an entire colony
Yeah.
uh, and ran around and then finally found the back of the end zone for a touchdown to Devion Davis. It was just sitting there in the open end zone. That was just an incredible play by Magoo, but for the Maulers, it felt like I couldn't believe they didn't get him down on that play.
Yeah, it's crazy, but the defense played so well in the first half. It's hard to expect the defense to continue to keep you in these type of games against these type of teams. And I don't know, it's just at some point a lack of offensive production takes energy away from even the defense, and I just think that kind of showed getting into the final parts of this game.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, Troy Williams, he had a great day on the ground too. 7 carries, 63 yards. He had a 34-yard touchdown run to take the
Yeah.
lead in the fourth quarter, and that's where you felt like, oh my goodness, Pittsburgh might still be in this game. But then Deion Kane, who had a kick return against my New Orleans Breakers the week beforehand, decided to end all the Maulers fans' dreams and take the kick back to the house for a touchdown to take the lead. It was the go-ahead touchdown and the game winner in the fourth quarter. Deion Kane ended up winning Special Teams Player of the Week. I mean, John, that was just a heartbreaker. But Deion Kane doing a great job capitalizing and contributing for his team, man, because he really needed. He had a bad drop earlier on like a 3rd down where they could have
Yeah.
gotten a big play. So that was a big play for him. Just want to look at some numbers here. Magoo finished 17 for 29, 157 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. So much better in the second half, though.
Yeah.
Already talked about Troy Williams. If you want to talk to Alex McEwen running as well, he was great. He 10 carries, 48 yards, 1 touchdown. He was their leading rusher. Same with Troy Williams. He was also his team's leading rusher. Zaquandre White on the ground, 10 carries, 41 yards, filling in while Bo Scarborough's gone. CJ Marable, 10 carries, 35 yards. Um, Pittsburgh's like just normal like running downhill offense didn't do much. I mean, Garrett Groshek 5 carries, 19 yards. Isaiah Henney 2 carries, 14 yards. I mean, just not a lot in like the downhill running. But Troy Williams adds a great like opening for them in order to run the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if teams try to clamp on that and see if they can get some more runs downhill. Receiving for Birmingham, Devion Davis, like I said, with a touchdown, eight catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown on 10 targets. That's a lot. Austin Watkins, 3 catches, 25 yards on 5 targets. Adrian Hardy, 2 catches, 19 yards, 2 targets. CJ Marable, 2 catches, 26 yards on 3 targets. Saquandre Wright, 1 catch, 11 yards, 2 targets. Jay Sternberger, who I mean, we'll get into Jay Sternberger. I think we should. 1 catch, 5 yards on 4 targets. I know the Stallions have been winning, John, and he was a key part of their first two. But the past 2 games, he's been like just absolutely like disappeared. What happened to him?
Yeah, I really don't know. He just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
I mean, like it doesn't even seem like teams are like double teaming him or anything. It literally just looks like he's just not getting the ball.
I mean, maybe. Do you think they're putting their best corners on him or something?
No, I didn't really see a lot of that, and I don't think they should because the Stallions have the speed with Devion Davis on the outside and they can burn you.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
Deion Kane, like I just don't think it's worth it at that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
And yeah, for the Pittsburgh Maulers, Bailey Gaither, a guy's been a beast, 6 catches, 69 yards on 11 targets. Isaiah Henney, 4 catches, 43 yards on 6 targets. Joshua Simmons, 4 catches, 17 yards, 4 targets. Trey Walker, 3 catches, 41 yards on 6 targets. He made a spectacular diving catch at one point in the game. Mason Stowe, 2 catches, 13 yards, 2 targets. Artravis Lynn, 1 catch, 14 yards on 1 target. Matt Saber, 1 catch, 20 yards, 2 targets. I mean, John, the Maulers, they can move the ball all the way down the field however they want. But I mean, that
They
red
just
zone
can't
offense until it
finish.
picks up, until that red zone offense picks up, I just don't know what they're going to be able to do down the
Yeah,
stretch here.
it's
Got anything else on
disappointing.
this game? It's
Yeah,
very disappointing.
yeah,
Is that at all?
yeah.
All right. We're going to go to our around the USFL segment here. We have a little bit of news, just one news item. It's a big one for this upcoming game. Here's some update on Kenji Bahar. This is via at Spring FB Zone on Twitter. This was from 3 hours ago. So it's the most. This was I guess, the earliest one I could find. So this is where I'm getting the credit from. Kenji Bahar has been moved to the inactive roster for the Houston Gamblers after suffering an injury during last week's game. Forgot to mention that he did not finish that game. There was a wild play with Terry Wilson, who was in line to start. For the Gamblers, he had like a weird fumble that was picked up for a touchdown. It was a weird play. Kind of a hard one to read in the box score, but Terry Wilson will be the one starting. I mean, John, we didn't get to really see a lot of Terry Wilson in the game last week. I mean, how does losing Kenji Bahar affect this offense?
Quite a lot because he's been their guy, the starting guy
Hmm.
for the past, for the season. uh, and just it's always weird changing to a new quarterback. You got to get used to a new voice up there. It's usually a different cadence, and I think they're gonna be taking it pretty slow starting next week just because they got to get him going in a rhythm early or get the running game going early. One of the two has to happen, and we'll see which one gets started soon or not. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think we'll break that game down in the Vegas view a little bit. But for Kenji Bahar, the guy has had 840 yards, which is third most in the USFL, and he has seven uh, passing touchdowns, which is second in the USFL. So a big blow to the Gamblers' chances against the Stallions this next week. All right. Now, time for a new segment that we are debuting on the show. Kind of thought of it as just watching these games because there's a lot of moving pieces. The parity's at an all-time high at this league right now, which has just been amazing to watch. Feels like every team is just like right there. The margins are very thin between who's better and who's worse. Um,
yeah,
so at this point in the season, I mean, we got to talk about what changes need to be made for some teams and what teams are on the danger of just their season kind of just going away. This is panic button. I will ask John if you would hit the panic button on these three teams that I have for us today, all coming off losses this past weekend. So first, I'm going to start with your beloved Pittsburgh Maulers. John, you hitting the panic button on them yet? They're 1-3 to start this season.
this one probably the closest one to yes or no here. I'm gonna stick with no for one more week here. I'm not gonna hit the button yet.
Hmm. Not
Uh,
going to hit it.
that as long as the offense gets going, they'll be fine. And that's not the hardest thing to fix on a team. So as long as that gets going, they'll be fine and they can rack up a few wins going into the last half of the season here, or getting to the midway point in the season, and then onwards they should be able to rack up a few wins, getting that offense going when their defense is also playing so well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Maulers, I'm not going to hit the panic button on them either. You kind of turned me around on them. I kind of watched them against the Stallions this past weekend, and my mind's kind of changed on them. If it weren't for that kick return last week, who knows where the Maulers would be right now
Yeah.
by Deion Kane. But for the Maulers, I mean, they have all the tools. It's funny, their most effective part of their offense has been the short game, like the short passing game. And that's, of course, in the red zone. I mean, all your plays are short and they haven't been able to score in the red zone, which is very weird to me. I feel like Troy Williams and seeing him be able to run. they could call some read options in the red zone that if teams decide to guard Troy Williams on the read option, that's going to leave more downhill running for Garrett Groshek, Madre London, those running backs. So I'm not going to hit the panic button on Pittsburgh yet. That defense is too good to be out on yet, I think.
Yep.
All right. Let's go to the Michigan Panthers. I'm going to start with them. The Panthers, I know they're 2-2 right now, so it's kind of a weird spot. They've lost two straight though. They started 2-0, and you felt like maybe this was one of the biggest surprises of the USFL this season, and now all of a sudden they're at 2-2. Um, for the Panthers right now, I mean, with how tight that division is, I want to say no, but I'm gonna pick it just because that division's so tight. I mean, at this point, the Panthers can't afford to just give up games, like especially one to a team like the Memphis Showboats, which I know they had a good game, but the Panthers they got to figure out a quarterback. You guys got to figure out a quarterback. You can't just switch between Josh Love and Carson Strong. You have a great running game. The O line's been pretty good. And the defense hasn't gotten turnovers the past 2 weeks, which was their calling card the first 2 weeks of the season. They haven't gotten the past two, and they've resulted in losses. So you got to figure out, like, can your defense stop people without getting turnovers or without them making mistakes? You got to force mistakes on them. So right now for the Panthers, I got to hit the panic button, man.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, they started out so well, like you said, but when kind of every phase of your team breaks down in 2 weeks at the start of the season, I think the
Right.
panic button has to be hit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, you said their division is so tight, so it's kind of they got lucky in that sense that they're not in the South Division. Well, I guess not lucky because they are in the North, but if they were in the other
Right.
division, they would have been, third place, right? So I don't
Right.
know.
I mean, they're in the playoffs right now as of now, but again, like I said, Pittsburgh, they play this week, and we both are really high on them. It'll be interesting to what we pick in the Vegas View here. I'm going to talk about a little
Yeah,
upset action in the Vegas View, some of the trends going through this USFL season so far. But I'm scared for the Panthers, man. They need this win this week because if they give it to Maulers, the Maulers, they're going to jump them in the standings. They're going to be two. Michigan's going to be out of the playoffs through the first 5 weeks of the season after starting 2-0 and it looking like they were going to be one of the better teams in this league.
yeah.
All right. Let's go to the Philadelphia Stars. John, you hit the panic button on the 1-4 Stars after going to the championship game last year.
Yes. That
Yeah.
O line, just absolute garbage.
Right.
Oh, uh, yeah, just they're letting anybody and everybody through the gaps there, and that's just something that can't be overlooked. And I'd be surprised if Case Cookus actually finishes out this season with the way he's being hit.
Really? Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say he was gonna get benched. I was like,
No,
whoa. I was like, dang. It's like that'd be a ballsy call, but I would have liked it. I would have been cool with it. But yeah, for me, I mean, if you can't block for your quarterback, you're not gonna go anywhere. And so far, yeah, the Stars have really not been going anywhere. The one team they beat was the Memphis Showboats. I'm hitting the panic button on them. Again, I love the stat. I mean, they haven't had a rusher over 31 rushing yards this season. That is atrocious. You got to have a balanced team, especially when
yeah,
you can't block. So it makes everything difficult, and I just don't really see how they can change any of that. And their defense is, I mean, it's mid. It's fine. Like it's not bad, but it's not great either. And that's, I mean, if they were like they had the Maulers defense, maybe we'd be looking at this team a little bit differently. But with their defense being mid and their offense being super bad, this team, I don't really know where I see them going in the future.
yeah.
All right. That was our panic button segment. All right, now we're going to go on to our power rankings, our week 5 power rankings for the USFL. This is going to be back and forth style because we don't have Felix, so we're going to be doing you do one, I do one here. So, John, I'm a homer, but at one I got the breakers. You got the breakers as well.
I do.
Number 2, I got the Stallions. You got the
I also have the Stallions.
number 3, Generals.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Number 4, Gamblers.
I also have them there. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Number 5, Maulers.
Yes, sir.
Oh, God, why'd you have to turn me on them? Number 6, Panthers.
No, I have the
Okay, okay,
Showboats.
okay. So that's our first. I guess yeah, I guess that's our first change. So, yeah, let's get into it. I mean, our top 5 here were the same. So let's just break that down really quick. Yeah, you turned me on the Maulers for sure with that defense, and I really do think they can turn things around on offense. Gamblers. I mean, I was high on them last week, going into this past week, and they proved themselves. And I'm really excited what they can do on offense. I'm a little scared on the back end on defense, though. General is great overall defense.
Yeah,
Offensive passing game kind of shut down against my Breakers this past weekend. Um, and our defense has not been that great this year, but it was, I think they'll be okay.
the
The
Generals do
Stallions,
have the least amount of points scored against them, so
that's the best defense in football right now, then.
yeah.
And the Stallions, I mean, yeah, I mean the Alex Bagoo effect, the fact that they have all those injuries and they're still 3-1 and look like a really good football team. I mean, that's something to be scared of. And my Breakers, I mean, we played a complete game on both sides of the ball. Great win against a great team. Can't be mad about it.
Yeah.
John, you got anything on those?
No, I think you pretty
Those
much
top
covered it
five?
all.
All right. Then let's go to the Panthers, Showboats, and Stars. I think here is our final 3. You have the
Yes,
Stars at 8, right?
I do.
I'm at 7 with the Showboats. You're at 6 with the Panthers, so that's our only switch up this week. John, the Panthers and Showboats. I have the Panthers above the Showboats, but that's partly because I'm not too convinced that the Showboats, are going to be able to do what they just did consistently. But you beg to differ, right?
Well, they have their quarterback figured out, and that's more than I can say for Michigan.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay.
that's why I'm
Yeah.
putting Memphis at 6 right now. Yeah.
I mean, I can rock with that. I don't really have any rebuttal to that. I can rock with that. The only reason I really have the Panthers over is because I've seen what they can do, and that's what I'm kind of like betting on.
Hmm.
And the Showboats, like they did it once, and I don't know if they can do it again. And it's against the Panthers who have been sputtering, which maybe that's why I should have them lower. But yeah, you can go tit for tat with those two.
Yeah,
But I
definitely.
love your argument. No rebuttal there. I guess we could talk about the Stars here. I mean, again, I guess we already talked about them
We
on
don't really
Panic
need to
Button.
talk about
We don't need to. They're done. They're done. All right. Speaking of talking about a certain team, it's that time of
Alrighty.
week, isn't
It
it?
is this time of week where Ethan, being a big New Orleans Breakers fan, will
Come on, bro.
hit us with a Breakers breakdown. He will have a minute on the clock to talk about the Breakers, and then he will have to stop talking about the Breakers after a minute's up. So,
All right.
are you
Yeah,
ready?
I think I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Alrighty. In 3, 2, 1, go.
I mean, looking at all these categories to start really quick, individual stats here. Kyle Beth Thompson leads the league in passing. Wes Hills leads the league in rushing. Sage Strat leads the league in receiving. I mean, our offensive yards per game, we're at the top of the league. Defensive yards per game, we're at the top of the league. Points allowed, we're at the top of the league. I mean, so far, we've been so good. I'm a little scared that Memphis is going to come in and they're going to play really well against us. And we're just gonna come and be like very just meh and just not really care about it. So I hope that doesn't have no upsets there. This past weekend, prayers up to Greg Eisworth. He was the one who went down with the injury. As soon as that happened, though, there was a lot of flags flown. The Generals' left tackle got ejected from the game. There was emotions. There was a lot of emotions, and I think our defense did a great job at controlling themselves. John DiFilippo is a very calm guy, and I think he did a great job at just getting the team together and just saying, "Hey, like obviously Greg's gonna be okay. Let's just go out there and play
Your
good
minute
defense
is
and get
up.
this win." Dang it! All right. Just gonna add, yeah. I mean, Vontae Diggs, obviously your defensive player of the week. He did a great job at rallying the guys as well, and defense played well in the second half.
Alrighty.
That is all.
I think you covered a
All
lot
right.
there. So,
I did. I kind of went over the map. I went over the Memphis game this next week. I got I got the New Jersey Generals game. I got the overall standings and passing. I feel pretty good on that.
Alrighty.
All right. Now from my segment to your segment, this is a look ahead and the Ticket Tycoon segment. Sean, take it away, my man.
Alrighty, so the USFL does games on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday, we have Pittsburgh going into Ford Field to take on the Michigan Panthers at 12:30, 11:30 Central Time on Saturday, May 13th. That will be broadcasted on the USA Network. And I'm just gonna go into ticket prices now. As we've said previously, the ticket price low for every game is going to be $10. That's the general value that the USFL has set. So $10 at Ford Field on the lower bowl. Towards the middle of the field at the 50-yard line, you're going to see $35, and it doesn't go much higher than that. On the home side of the field, yeah. On the away side of the field, we got $25 going up to $38. I mean, not a lot not a lot of price differences here. $25, great. What's it called? Great price to get tickets at the 50-yard line on the away side in Ford Field. Experience in NFL Stadium. Should be a good game. Well, hopefully it's a good game. Going into the next game on Saturday, we have the Houston Gamblers going into Protective Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama to take on the Birmingham Stallions.
Team Nine's game of the week.
Yes, sir. This is at 5/4 Central Time, and our tickets here is low as $10 again. As we get towards the 50-yard line, they will get more expensive. The 50-yard line on the home side of the field is $40, the cheapest, and the highest over there is $75. So people in Birmingham really wanting to see those guys play. That is a football state and just a football culture around there. So they love their football up there. Yeah, I think that's about it. On to our Sunday games. On May 14th, we have the New Jersey Generals taking on the Philadelphia Stars at Ford Field. Now, something they do for Philadelphia Stars games when they're at quote-unquote home, because it's a hub city in Detroit at Ford Field. Philly is the home team, and whenever Philly is the home team in Detroit Field, so far it seems like they do general admission, which means you buy a ticket for a set price of $10, and then as early as you can get there, you can go in and find a seat that fits your liking. So if you do get a seat for $10, try to get to the game a bit earlier than maybe you would usually to try to get one of those front seats. Yeah. That is at 12:11 Central Time. And going into our last game of the week, we have the Memphis Showboats versus the New Orleans Breakers at the Protective Stadium in Birmingham. This is at 3:02 Central Time. Again, the low price is $10. The middle towards the home sideline towards the 50-yard line, we're going to see $40 tickets there. And going away from that, we're going to see about $25 around the 25-yard line. So not too bad there. Get those for good prices. The best team in the league should be a good one to watch in person, if not, if not on TV. I forgot to say the broadcasting for the last three games. I said it for Pittsburgh and Michigan, but I'll just say that again. Pittsburgh and Michigan is going to be broadcasted by USA. Houston and Birmingham going to be broadcasted by Fox. And the New Jersey Philadelphia game will be on NBC, which will also be streaming on Peacock. And the Breakers game will be streaming on Fox as well. I think that about wraps up this segment.
Yeah, John, that was perfect. Thank you, man. Time to get into our Vegas view, and I want to talk just a couple trends here. So, if you're making picks, I saw that the USFL has like a what do you call that? It's like a pool basically where like if you pick all the games right in a week, like you go on a streak basically and you can win prizes like going if you like go on a streak for a couple weeks. So just if you want to look at like what you're trying to pick because you got to and so far the story has been you got to pick some upsets, man. Week 1 we had an upset, week 2 we had one upset, week 3 we had three upsets, week 4 we had two upsets. These are all via Fox Bet. Um these are the lines via Fox Bet. So lately, I mean, week 3 was the week the USFL flipped on its head when the Breakers beat the Stallions. Um, the Generals beat the Panthers. I mean, it was a wild week. And then last week we also had two upsets with the Gamblers and Showboats getting wins. So, John, I mean, does that influence you at all making your picks this week?
Not really.
Not really. You
No.
don't think the looking at the past cares for the future. I'm always a big guy on that, but I know sometimes it's not the best thing to do. It'll be interesting to see how we pick these games here. All right, let's look at our first game between the Pittsburgh Maulers and the Michigan Panthers. All these lines are via Fox Bet, and lines are subject to change. The Michigan Panthers favored by 3.5 at home in Ford Field. Over under sitting at 41.5. John, what do you got here, man?
Um, I'm gonna count on the Maulers getting that red zone offense going, and I'm gonna take them to win this one, which means I will also take their spread. And then this is probably gonna be a more defensive matchup, so I will take the under here at
It's a
41 and a
low
half.
over under.
It
It's a
is
low over
low.
under at 41 and a half.
That is true.
Especially, I noticed the over unders have gone up and up, especially in season 2 here compared to like the XFL season 1. Mostly because of it feels like these teams have gotten like a second year, so there's a lot of familiar faces that kind of know the offense. But
That's true.
anyway, yeah, I mean that spread's very juicy if you don't want to take the risk with the Maulers money line. So yeah, I'll take the spread, but I'm also going to take the money line. But I'm not necessarily sold that Pittsburgh's going to get their red zone offense going. I'm just trust them more than Michigan, which is not a lot to say right now at the moment. So I'm going to take the under at 41 and a half as well.
Alrighty.
All right, now time on to Team Nine's game of the week between the Gamblers and the Stallions. Birmingham favored by 4.5 points. The over/under sitting at 49.5. I'm gonna go into this one really quick. I just want to say some. I've been kind of watching this line all week, and it hasn't really moved at 4.5 even after Kenji Bahar went out. Some of these sports books aren't as good about looking for injuries for these XFL and USFL leagues. So maybe you pounce on that spread. I'm going to take the Birmingham spread here at 4.5. I do think this is the game of the week because I think with Kenji Bahar it was going to be super close, and maybe Terry Wilson does surprise us, but I'm going to take Birmingham with the spread here. Which means also take their money line over under at 49.5 with a backup quarterback. I can't take that. That under looks really juicy with me with Terry Wilson starting. So maybe you pounce on that too. I'm going to take the under.
Yeah, I am gonna go with the exact same picks as you did there, with
Any
Birmingham to win and
yeah.
cover, and then the under there. So yeah,
Any other reasons to pick Birmingham or the under, but or you just you set on the fact that the injury has
I
kind of not
think
affected these lines.
it's gonna be a slow start because Houston does have a good defense, but I think Birmingham will pick it up, kind of similar to last week.
I think the pass rush is good for Houston. Again, I'm scared on the back end.
That's
Like
true.
if Houston's pass rush doesn't they can't pin their ears back this week either. I mean, Birmingham's got weapons everywhere, so I would Houston's defense. I mean, they showed that flash last week, but I thought that was more of just a matchup based thing.
Yeah,
Like they gave up 38 to the Breakers, which I know we've been very good all season. Cough cough, but yeah, I don't know. I just and they just fell apart in the fourth quarter against the Panthers in week 1. So Houston's defense, I'm not too sold on. It was just more of a matchup based thing. So Birmingham and the under for both of us this week. All right, John, going into our Sunday games, the New Jersey Generals and the Philadelphia Stars in a USFL semifinal rematch from last year. John, who do you got in this one? Generals favored by 6.5. Over under at 43.5. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm taking New Jersey here. Their
Yeah.
money line and the spread as well.
Hmm.
I mean, Philadelphia got blown out by Houston, which is a decent team, but New Jersey, one of the better teams here. They've had a bit of schedule, like they've had a tough schedule to start it out, so I think we're gonna see their wins pick up as we go into the this part of the season here, and I'm gonna take the over here because Houston pretty much did that on their own, and I do think this offense is kind of similar in New Jersey. So yeah.
Yeah, so looking at this one, I'm gonna take the New Jersey spread and the win as well. Like I said, I just Philadelphia can't block anybody, and New Jersey's defense is one of the best in the USFL right now. So gotta trust that, and I know New Jersey will get points of their own. So I mean, looking at this, I think let's say Philadelphia scores like, I don't know, like 10 points, and you say New Jersey scores like 20 points or 25 or something like that, 24. I mean, that's the under. I'm just scared of like I like what New Jersey can give me. And like I said, Philadelphia's defense is mid. Like they'll get stops here and there, but they're not gonna make like a big play or anything. Like they're just kind of mid. They'll get stops here and there, but that's it. And if Philadelphia's not gonna hold up their side of the bargain, I'm gonna have to take the under in this one.
Okay.
That's three unders for me. Dang, I'm
Yeah.
cooking on the unders right now. All right, let's go into my New Orleans Breakers taking on the Memphis Showboats. It's the biggest mismatch we've seen so far. This is the biggest line I think we've seen so far in the USFL. The Breakers favored by 7, it at home, but in Birmingham. Over under at 48.5. I mean, looking at this one, I could easily see us, the Breakers, get very complacent or maybe just underestimate the Showboats, and the Showboats come in swinging um, and in this one and keep it close and possibly even beat us. But also, I could see it to where Memphis played a really heartfelt game last week and they don't have it in it again. So I'm going to bet on that. So I'm going to take the Breakers, that 7 point spread, and I'm also going to take them to win. I mean, even if looking at this right now, Memphis's defense has been terrible. Our defense has, I meing, statistically, it looks like it's better than it's been, I think. We've also played two very good offense in Houston, Birmingham. But with that being said, I mean, I think that I could easily see us, especially with Memphis. They seem to really lean towards the pass with Cole Kelly. So I could see like some garbage time, maybe late, that maybe hits this over at 48.5. So I'm not going to be boring for once this week. I'm going to take the over 48.5.
I'm also gonna take the over here. Just yeah, the New Orleans offense is really good, and I think Memphis will get something here or there. I'm gonna say New Orleans wins this one, so their money line, but I do think it will be a tad close here, and I'm gonna say Memphis covers that 7 point spread.
Well, I really hope you're wrong. I really don't want to sweat this one out. It's a Sunday afternoon game. Let me just have like, just sit back and just enjoy a game for once and just not have to stress about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those were our picks for the week 5 Vegas view. And that's our show this week. If you want to reach us on Twitter, we are at Team9Pod on Twitter. We're at Team9Pod on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube has ads now. Can you believe that? And if you want our email, if you want to email us, we are team9pod at gmail.com. John, you got anything to say?
Not really. Just ready for this week of football.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is a big week for football and the spring league specifically. I mean, looking at it, we have the XFL championship. We have 4 great games coming up on
The
the
midway point of
USFL
the
slate, the
USFL.
midway point here. Yeah, I mean, it. I mean, for when it comes to the biggest day in spring football history, it was either a couple weeks ago when the USFL kicked off and the XFL was, at the back half of their season, or it's going to be Saturday when these two USFL games go on and the XFL championship goes on. I mean, that's the their first championship game since 2001. I mean, this is a huge deal. So I hope everybody just enjoys the football this week, whether you're a USFL fan, XFL fan, both. Don't care, a fan of one of the teams, fan of multiple teams. I mean, just enjoy what this weekend's going to be because it's going to be really special. So that's all that we have to say. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. Have a good one.